Black television has made its way throughout time, providing entertainment, information, and history. We have seen illustration of Black America as early as the 1940s. But how accurate have these depictions been? What is the true history of Black Hollywood? This documentary will serve to illustrate the story of the disconnected chain between Black entertainers and the industry's cosmetic teams, the two tones of Black Hollywood.
My research area focuses on the representation of race, specifically Blackness in media, mainly news media, but I do look at entertainment media as well. And my very first experience was watching sitcoms in the late 70s, early 80s. And so that would be sort of the Norman Lear era. We're talking Good Times, Sanford and Son, the Jeffersons, shows like that. So I actually was able to grow up in an era where there was a lot of Black representation on television and Black women in general. But the interesting thing about that era and the television shows that were created during that time, all of them, actually not almost, all of them were created by men. So the images that I saw, the storylines, the looks, whatever, they were created by men. And actually, Good Times was created by two Black men.
It isn't hard to understand why there may be setbacks for Black entertainers in this industry, since early depiction of African Americans were not African Americans. It was the white portrayal of Black Americans. The premiere of Black people on screen, according to journal articles such as Black Television Through the Years, began as a tool to control the propaganda sent out to American people during the war and culturally about Black America. Black people weren't even featured at the time. White actors would be dressed in Black theatrical makeup that would play into the stereotypical caricatures of African Americans at that time. Blackface. As we navigate through the early 1900s, Black Hollywood began to make its way into real entertainment television, even developing its own network of BET in 1980. Although the new network was a landmark in Black television, the accurate depiction of Black actors, on and off the screen, was not a priority. Actresses would oftentimes have to go fix their unflattering hair or deadly silver eyeshadow in their own dressing room or within their own personal team. This was the Black tax of Black entertainment.
So the Black tax, so in American culture in particular, as we, sort of struggle through racial issues in our society, we know, from history, don't have to document every aspect from slavery up to this point where Black people had to do extra things just to exist within our society.
With the cosmetic industry as large as it is today, worth over $60 billion according to Statista 2022, Black actors and entertainers are still misrepresented on screen and still struggle to find trained cosmetic artists. From the ghostly flashback of a powder too bright for their complexion or a synthetic wig that sits unflattering at the top of an actress's head, Black Hollywood continues to face these same obstacles almost a century later. But artists are making strides to correct the narrative today.
I am Geraldine Lanier Duckworth. I am the creative brains behind Bridging the Gap. Bridging the Gap is an organization that deals with hair and makeup for BIPOC performers. It's Black, Indigenous, people of color. And I travel to institutions all over, theaters, and I delve into hair and makeup basics because for so long it's been a neglected topic. I started a Facebook page January 2nd, 2019. Bridging the Gap goes live. So research is important. Research is literally at the heart of what I do as well, because a lot of younger designers and non-BIPOC designers, if the photo doesn't exist or they can't find it, they will say, I can't design, I can't, do this project because I don't have photo representation. I've always been a designer that loves research, and so that was a part of why I started and how I formatted my page. Mondays, I delve into makeup if I found cool brands. Foundation shade matching is a problem. Any way you slice it, from film to theater, I cringe probably every time I see promo photos that feature people of color, because the foundation usually stops here matching. Wednesdays is my open floor topics. If I found cool designers, cool people working in the industry, I hear a lot from students. That's primarily a lot of my work. Fridays, like I said, it's Research Fridays. I delve into old photographs. Of course, the biggest misconception that pre-1900, every person of color was a slave. And that's something that I look to debunk. There were people of color that were thriving, performers, entertainers that were doing well. And Sundays was my last edition. I talk about BIPOC playwrights. So I would say my mission as a whole is to make the creative space for BIPOC performers an enjoyable and creative one, where they don't have to worry about hair health and makeup, and there's products for them in these closets that they can use. So for so long, it hasn't been the case. And when I've gone to different colleges, like, they have taken to heart what I've said, and they've, put the various coconut argan oils in the closet. They've looked to expand shade ranges. They're looking at protective styles for longer runs of shows. So that makes me happy, because I feel like my mission is doing what it needs to do.
Some challenges I face with actually doing a hair makeup design with the actors are pretty much learning what looks good on them. Because we do a lot of our design work based on research images, like time period research images or fantasy research images. But it's one thing to look at those pictures on someone else's face, and it's another thing to do it on your actor. And so I think that's the biggest challenge I've faced so far. It's been okay, I have this vision in my head, I've drawn out a plot of where I want them to apply makeup and how so, but it's another thing to teach them how to do it and then make sure it looks how I want it. So compromise is something that really comes into play there too.
With performers of color and with all performers, I make sure they're comfortable, and I try to take into account their natural hair texture. So with black performers, it's usually a very specific hair texture. And it's difficult to alter it, and a lot of the time people have a very specific one that they want to keep, and I understand all of that. So I make sure that I compromise basically with all performers between the style I want and between the texture and length that they want and are comfortable with, and we find a compromise for that.
To bridge the gap between Black entertainers and cosmetic professionals in the entertainment industry, I think needs to be more access and representation of the professionals in the industry, right? I think we're doing an okay job, and when I say we, I mean the industry as a whole, of allowing Black stories, Black actors, Black performers to not only perform in the entertainment realm, but also create. But behind the scenes, I don't think that that's the case. So I think access and representation behind the scenes is more important, or is important to bridge that gap.
The entertainment industry still has a ways to go. But in the act of aiming for an accurate depiction of Black Americans today, the education is key. The difference today is that these talents are loud in their demands, and both sides of the industry are continuously searching for a means to mend the disconnect.